Long after the death of Osiris, king of the gods, Egypt fell into shadow. His brother Set, the god of storms and chaos, seized the throne, and though he wore the crown, none dared call him rightful ruler. For Osiris had left behind a son, Horus, the falcon-eyed heir of the sky, and so began a struggle that would shake heaven, earth, and the Nile itself. A war between order and chaos, justice and pride. A war that would decide who ruled Egypt for all eternity. Deep in the golden temples of Heliopolis, Isis, mother of Horus, stood before the god. My husband Osiris was slain by his own brother. My son is his heir. Yet Set sits upon the throne, the gods murmured. Some feared Set's wrath. Others pitied Horus, young, noble, but untested. Ra, the sun god, sat upon his solar throne, his eyes ancient and weary. The boy must prove himself, Ra declared. Let Horus and Set be judged before the divine council, and let Egypt's throne belong to the victor. Thus the trial began, not with words but with war. The gods gathered by the banks of the Nile, their thrones gleaming beneath the desert sun. Horus arrived, radiant and proud, his body painted with gold, his crown shaped like a falcon's head. Set approached, a towering god of red skin in the head of a beast, part jackal, part serpent, part storm. When they faced one another, the air itself seemed to tremble. Thoth, the scribe of the gods, spoke. You are kin, yet your battle will decide the fate of Egypt. Fight with strength, but fight with honor. The ground shook as Set raised his spear. The wind screamed as Horus drew his blade of divine metal. They clashed, and the first war between gods began. Set's storms swept across the river, waves towering like mountains, boats shattered. The air turned black. Horus leapt from the flood in the form of a giant falcon, wings beating thunder from the sky. Lightning split the heavens. Set transformed into a monstrous hippopotamus, diving into the waters to strike from below. For days they battled across the Nile, water against sky, storm against sun. The gods watched from above, silent, awed. At last, Horus speared Set through the shoulder. Lightning flashed and the storm subsided. Set fled into the desert, wounded but alive. But Horus had not yet won, for chaos never dies easily. As Horus rested, Set crept into his camp in the dark of night. Disguised as a friend, he whispered honeyed words. Let us make peace, nephew. Come, drink with me. Horus, proud and trusting, agreed. But Set was the master of deceit. He struck while Horus slept, gouging out his left eye, the eye of the moon, and cast it into the desert sands. When Isis found her son, broken and bleeding, she wept. Her tears became the Nile's floodwaters. But Thoth, god of wisdom, gathered the shattered pieces of the eye, and through divine magic restored it, brighter than before. From that day, the Eye of Horus became a symbol of healing and protection. For from suffering comes sight. At last, the gods called both warriors to face judgment. They had fought with strength, trickery, and magic, but still the council was divided. Ra favored Set, for chaos fed the sun's fire. Isis wept for Horus, for justice demanded order. And so, to settle the matter once and for all, they met in the desert for a final duel. Set summoned sandstorms that blotted out the world. Horus called the winds of the heavens and struck like a falcon's dive. Lightning met thunder. Steel met claw. The earth split. At last, Horus pinned Set beneath his spear. The gods looked down in silence as the storm god bled into the sand. And for the first time, Set, the untamed, bowed his head. Ra rose in judgment. The test is done. Horus, son of Isis and Osiris, you are rightful king of Egypt. Horus stood before the gods, the eye restored, the crown of the two lands upon his brow. He looked down at Set, his father's killer, and for a moment hesitated. Then he spoke. Let chaos serve order. Let Set live, but rule the deserts where his storms may rage without end. And so, Set was exiled to the Redlands to guard Egypt's borders from the demons beyond. Order and chaos, Brothers once divided were finally bound by fate. Peace returned to the two lands. The Nile flowed again beneath the golden sun, and Horus ruled as the living pharaoh, the bridge between gods and men. Yet to this day, storms still rise from the western desert, and thunder still whispers Set's name. For though Horus won the throne, Set was never truly defeated. Balance was restored, not by destroying chaos, but by learning to rule beside it. In every storm lies the shadow of Set, and in every sunrise the Eye of Horus watches, ever vigilant. If you love ancient stories told through myth and cinema, subscribe to Mythoria and return for the next legend reborn where gods fight and eternity remembers.